Say hello to travelersan. Through the creative use of game mechanics, and at times glitches, we're on a quest to see just how much of Genshin Impact can be completed using only the Traveler. And we sometimes break things. If you enjoyed the series, do make sure to like and subscribe. It helps travelersan out a lot. And we sometimes break things. Well, yeah, that looks broken to me. This is the Temple of Khaj-Nisut. Seems like that cloaking technology needs some tweaks. A long time ago, someone showed me this on Twitter, but this is my first time experiencing it myself. What a really odd place. There's only a handful of things to walk on, so have to keep airborne with these 4-leaf sigils. Let's do a bit of puzzle solving like this. These primal embers are eventually going to have to be moved anyways once I start Golden Slumber, and since I'm already here... Oh, this is tricky. Have to make sure I don't stray too far from the sigils, else I'll fall from the temple. The, invisible, not loaded in temple. But I like tricky. It's fun. In fact, this is how the puzzle should have been. Would it make any sense within the lore of the quest? Absolutely not. Would it be more fun and challenging? You bet. There we go. I think that wraps up all of them. Of course, nothing happened. The quest triggers being absent is making this place not work right. But, I suppose that was obvious. Now that's funny. The enemies get stuck in a perpetual fall loop if they're aggroed. I'm getting distracted. Onto the things I actually came here for, the Dendroculus. Because before Golden Slumber can be started, the remainder of the challenge must be completed, gathering all Hypostyle Desert Dendroculus without the use of clearance, and before starting Golden Slumber. Yes, every single one. We've covered the outlying ruins, the mausoleum of King Deshret. Lots remain, however, only a few of them pose problems. Those within the ruins of Abdju Pit and Khaj-Nisut. Since we're here already, let's cover those remaining in Khaj-Nisut. First, the southern ruins. This is the place with the invisible maze. Getting to here before the quest is as easy as gliding in from below the map. Nab the Dendroculus, and that's a wrap. The maze cannot be activated at this time, something that will throw a wrench into the plan I have later in this episode. 2 more Dendroculus remain within the western ruins. For one, we break in from out of bounds. Whoa, easy now, little fella. Let's not do anything rash. As for the second, that's more difficult. It's in the room opposite this one, and as far as I could tell, there is no way to climb into that room from out of bounds. With the room being locked behind a clearance door, that spells trouble. And it was probably the 4th time now that I worried the challenge would fail. But there's a solution. Travelersan just has to run. That's really pushing the limit of this trick, I think. But it was enough to make it. Maybe. Let me grab it. Come on. The Dendroculus of Khaj-Nisut have been secured. We're off to Abdju Pit. Something tells me a giant wall is going to load in right as I jump off this platform. Yep. Of course. Oh, it's really bright. That's kind of cool. This should work. There's actually a gap here. Hold on, this should let me confirm. Yes, that's actually a gap. Oh, there we go. Took me right to the Dendroculus. Nice. There we go. Now the elevator's online. Another one off the list. Nice. Look at that. Just the little hair sticking out. Well, I can't do this puzzle right now because I don't have ammo. Or a pyrosource, but... Oh. So it looks like I can break this wall, but... Can I also just climb through it? I know you guys are all screaming just to destroy the wall, but no. Did I make it? I made it. Actually, was there another way back there? There might be another way to go back there. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Look at this loading zone. Why? It's so close to the base. Wait, this is clearance locked, isn't it? It's not clearance? That'll unlock if I clear this puzzle. Okay, now before I leave here, just gonna walk around the room and make sure there's not another hidden torch. I would hate to teleport out of here, go get Anima and realize there's one more. Oh, you guys are right. Cool. Thank you. The switch did unlock. Okay, did I just totally miss the Dendroculus? Was it in like... I did. Oh. Wait. Okay, I should be able to get this without Geo. Just shimmy your way up the the wall here. He's dancing. Alright, this should be enough, right? Oh yeah. This is what I get for trying to be stylish. Hold on, I'll get it next time. I got it this time. I believe. Okay, it's not quite how I wanted it to happen, but I apparently didn't have enough momentum to get above it before hitting it, so... Anyways. With those, only the Dendroculus in the world above remain. It's been a few episodes since we've had one of these. Time for the travelersan Classic. Mission accomplished. All Dendroculus of the Hypostyle Desert have been gathered without starting Golden Slumber or using clearance. What an achievement. A bit surprised it was even possible. Alright, I will now lift the clearance ban. What a wild and immensely difficult ride it has been. Travelersan could really use a break after all that. However, there's still work at hand. On to tackling the puzzles of Golden Slumber before we start the quest. Because of course, we're going to try to break it. In the previous episode, I posed the question of what might happen if I complete one of the main puzzles of the quest, unlocking the sarcophagus, beforehand. That is one of many. There's also the entrance switch to Abdju Pit, the 2 primal torches that activate the elevator within Khaj-Nisut Temple, I've probably butchered that pronunciation, and what are the clearance enhancement puzzles? What happens if those are cleared without the Scarlet Sand Slate? Golden Slumber itself would prove a rather uneventful quest, as there are no major hurdles to overcome like with Aranyaka and its Dendro Rings. As such, we'll focus on answering these questions and recording the results, turning the quest into a fun little experiment. This is the final primal ember for the sarcophagus room. The verdict on activating all 4 primal torches is... a big ol' nothing interesting happens. The same is true of activating both primal torches in the Khaj-Nisut Temple. The door remains shut. Guess we'll have to wait to see if anything changes once I start the quest. Clearance enhancements are next on the list. At first, I returned to the area from the last episode where travelersan overcame the puzzle by diving underwater. A puzzle I definitely did not need to put so much effort into, because there's a simple way of draining the water by just guiding this unlocked primal ember 1 room over. Heh. Look at it playing in the water draining cutscene, even though the water is long gone. Can get 3 of the 4 activated, but the final one requires clearance due to Everlight cells. Scratch this one off the list, because it can't be completed. Second Hall houses the 2nd clearance upgrade. Another area submerged. Another area locked by Everlight cells, preventing the water from being drained. So this time, my unintended way of solving the puzzle by diving underwater is entirely intentional, besides the fact that I didn't realize the puzzle isn't connected to upgrading clearance. Still, it's cool, so I want to show it. Without draining the water, this puzzle is tricky. 2 particles are close to the water's pool zone, so one can't get above them. That's why I use Windcatcher here to extend my glide distance while underneath a ceiling. The water can't pull me up while under it, and I can glide to be level with the particle. Those are the only 2 particles that are an issue. With the generous amount of time this challenge has, the rest is no problem. Just your standard fare of using 4-leaf sigils to zip around.
Keep this close.
The tricky part would be with the 2nd primal ember. It's above water and needs to be moved underwater, but teleporting after they move resets them to their starting point. But there's a neat mechanic that will let me bypass that because it doesn't count as a teleport. That mechanic? Drowning. Victory no matter the cost. Line up the ember and 4-leaf sigil and repeat the process. And that's a wrap. One might think the water would go rushing out of the room with that door now open. But water in Genshin is weird. Teyvat having its own laws and all that. Neither of those primal embers went to the torches belonging to the clearance upgrade puzzle. The 4 I needed were all packed into the adjacent room with a fan in the way of 1. Once again, I was able to guide 3 embers to their destinations, but the final was locked behind a door, and I made the assumption it wouldn't appear until said door was open after seeing the ember holder empty. Thus, I moved on. Turns out, there was a 2nd room above it that had the ember. so it's theoretically possible to have gotten all 4 embers back. Ah well, the 3rd clearance upgrade could be fully cleared, and quite easily too. The one near Duat Hall. It's a pretty straightforward process of guiding the primal embers through a room without a floor. With all 4 embers guided to their destinations, the result is... Did I just obtain clearance? I of course do not have the Scarlet Sand Slate, but it totally got upgraded, even though nothing on it lit up. Well, apparently, I did not get clearance. Everything still remains locked. Let's begin Golden Slumber. More quest companions. The bane of a lone wolf traveler. Unlike with Rana, they can deal a bit more damage, and they've access to electrocharge reactions when they work together. Kinda cool. Also, unlike Rana, travelersan will not be murdering them. At least one will be making it out of this quest alive. The first broken thing. Having hit that switch within Abdju Pit has made the quest step stall. A minor break, nothing too exciting. It's fixable by entering and exiting a test run domain. Upon obtaining the Scarlet Sand Slate, it's notable that it is indeed upgraded. I suppose this is a good thing, because otherwise I'd be stuck with a slate that could never perform certain functions. Still, I'd like to see something else break, like that Seirai Maru key in Inazuma. The primal torches locking an elevator in Kamanu Temple is the same as the switch from before, a stalled quest step that progresses upon entering and exiting a test run domain. There's a pattern here, isn't there? Yup, because the sarcophagus room is exactly the same. I'm a bit bummed by this. Still, there's a whole other area to test things with. Khaj-Nisut. This one bore favorable results. My test was simple. With clearance in hand, could I make Khaj-Nisut visible before advancing the quest further? And the answer to that is no. 2 of the 3 devices can be activated, but the 3rd, the one inside that invisible maze mentioned earlier, remains locked by a quest trigger. I'm not sure why that is the only one locked by a quest trigger, but it is. Yet, it is within the story of the 2 that I could activate that I found something neat. Now, as you may know, travelersan likes to collect keys. There are 2 within this area that would be nice to add to the collection. The keystones from the Western Ruins. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to keep both keys. That's because a keystone is needed to open a door that grants access to one half of a puzzle in the eastern room on the bottom floor. A room with no way to break into it. This puzzle is important because it grants access to the final room where a clearance device is, a 103 that makes Khaj-Nisut appear. When I was here gathering Dendroculus, I swung into another room to grab one of the keystones. Said room has the other half of the locked puzzle, as you can see here. The completed puzzle makes 3 doors open, all of which lead into the final room with the clearance device. One of those doors is right here. Because of everything just explained, I went into this planning to keep only 1 keystone. I'd need to spend 1 to access the other half of the puzzle. So, imagine my surprise when I returned to find that those 3 doors requiring the puzzle to open no longer existed. I was baffled, but I was also doing a fist pump and thinking to myself, heck yeah, I don't know why, but I can just waltz on in now and not have to use a keystone. 2 more for the collection. I wish I had a nice explanation for you as to why this happened, but all I can offer is the theory that, for some reason, during the Return to the Oasis step of Golden Slumber, the doors down here unload. I thank my absurd attention to detail for finding this, because what the heck? That's such an unexpected and specific thing. Like, what do these 3 doors that were already loaded in before I started Golden Slumber have to do with the step of the quest I'm currently on? So odd. but so cool. The key collection continues to grow. We're at the finale, and the front door is right there. But when has travelersan ever taken the front door? Let me just do this, and there we go, the top floor. Ah, what a bummer. Can't do anything by skipping to the end like this. These quest triggers, I tell ya, such a pain. Still, we don't need to go through the front door. That's the switch to open it, but the quest marker isn't on that. It's behind the door. So if we just climb the temple a bit and find ourselves out of bounds within its walls, the door can be skipped as we trigger the entrance cutscene. It would appear all those primal embers I guided earlier when this place was invisible are tied to the puzzle in the basement. This lets me skip a few rooms. I just have to enter and exit a test domain so that the quest updates. Aha! There's the step I was looking for. Simply reach the top. So this whole puzzle here involving that switch, can just skip it thanks to my portable waypoint in the throne room.
Quick!
That's my fault for not making more food. I burned through the banquet I cooked before starting the desert. But how peculiar. The battle hasn't ended. If I let it sit here, will Jet and her father finish the battle and progress the story? Wow, it worked. No cutscene played, but the quest moved to the next step. Why is that dude standing on the throne now? My dude, let us get a picture. Something to remember the journey by. This is the conclusion of the Hypostyle Desert arc, after all. Heh, what is that? You think the void is your ally? Travelersan was born in it, molded by it. It cannot do him harm. How utterly foolish. No, hey, the door is open now. I never opened it. And now it's shut again. What is going on with this cutscene? Well, whatever the case, that is the end of the Hypostyle Desert. What a journey. The collection of those Dendroculus without clearance was brutal even by my standards. Honestly, felt like the heat of the desert was weighing down on me the entire time. So I think perhaps both travelersan and I would appreciate someplace cooler for our next stop. Yes, a place quite literally the polar opposite of the desert. A cooler climate, one where the ground may not be covered in sand, but where it is covered nonetheless by something with a similar sheen. Next time, we're going to Dragon. Okay, I'm kidding, we're doing the Liyue Archon quest. Finally, it's been 14 episodes since the Mondstadt one. If you enjoyed the show, like, subscribe, I appreciate the support. This is Moosashi and travelersan signing off. Till next time. No, actually, you know what? I forgot something. Don't know how you're supposed to get this normally, but since the entrance switch now has a lock on it, I assume it's some big headache. One I now don't have to deal with.